me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
Oh, yeah, you know, we need them. We all need strategies. Strategies for living, that is.
Yes, we do.
Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome into 101.7 FM. 710 Keo. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan. She is PLPC Lauren Leon McMillan. And, you know, it's cold outside.
It's a little chilly.
Yeah, well,
Quite chilly.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it was, but I have the...
we are in winter.
We are in winter,
have
yes.
officially entered
You know,
the season.
we haven't gotten any snow yet, but one of the things...
They've threatened.
It's been threatening,
We've been threatened.
I think, you know, there were some north of here. But one of the things that has always struck me, Lauren, throughout my life, whenever, you know, I've had the opportunity, which hadn't been a whole lot, but some, when it snows, it's so still. I mean, and you know, that's winter, isn't it? Winter
Yes.
is a season of stillness.
It's like the entire earth is kind of, I don't want to say holding its breath, but its breath has been deepened such that it's elongated, and it's just this slow stillness if you tune in.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that winter gives us, doesn't it? It gives us a chance, if we take it, to slow down, to reset,
To go within.
to go within,
To winter. To go enter.
maybe intentions, to look at what are our intentions, and as we move into a new season, called a year, you know, what would we like to do? Body, mind, spirit, relationship, right?
Yes.
What do we want to do with our physical health, our emotional health and clarity, our spiritual growth, maybe connections between others? This gives us a period of time that we can, contemplate all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so why don't we look at the power of stillness tonight
I love
here
it.
on Strategy. Folks, thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with us here on Strategies for Living. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate our sponsors making it possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Pintail Roofing
Roof.
and Learning RX and the Balanced Life Wellness Center and Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage. Back in a moment to consider stillness. We'll be back.
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you wanna holler, get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
Oh, the hunt for those strategies again.
Strategies.
Yeah, welcome in, folks. You found them right here on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, and Strategies for a Living. Glad you are with us. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. We are talking about the power of stillness today here on Strategies.
And especially in relationship to the season of
Yeah,
winter.
yeah.
Right?
And, you know, this is interesting because, you know, when winter kicks in,
Mm-hmm.
it's like our society, our culture
Yes.
almost does the opposite of
Yeah.
what the rest of nature does. If you watch nature, I mean, what do a lot of animals? I'm certainly not all, but what do a lot of animals do
I would
during the
say,
cold? They hibernate. They go
well,
within. They, you know,
and I would say all animals stiller become more still
yeah,
and become a little slower.
yeah,
They may not actually hibernate, but all of their bodily processes slow, as do ours.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we were having a conversation about a friend of ours
Mm.
who's, dealing with some heart issues.
Yes.
And you were pointing out, man, I hope this person is aware
Mm-hmm.
that,
Your heart works harder in the winter
yeah,
because it's cold.
yeah,
And so our body adapts by restricting blood vessels. That's why we get cold hands and feet in the winter, because it is working hard to keep our core at a good temperature. And
yeah,
so in some, if not most people, that's going to raise your blood pressure a little bit.
yep. And so it's just, we've got to understand the importance of rest and recovery for
Mhm.
winter in
Yeah.
our body. And it's like, and
And
that's my point with
it's
the
so
culture.
it's so contrary.
Yeah, our culture kind of tends to, what do we do? Thanksgiving, Christmas, we kick everything into high
And
gear,
New
right?
Year's.
Yeah,
Yeah, we throw huge parties, and then we wonder why we get sick.
yeah,
Perhaps, part of that is we're not listening to our body's natural inclination, our
yeah.
body's natural needs during this time.
We're fighting against what is, if you
Right.
will. But a lot of us do get sick. And what's one of the, and I've said this many times before on the program, Lauren.
Mm.
I'm not sure that we collectively talk enough about the immune system. I'm not sure that the medical community,
No.
um, you know, informs us to the degree, this immune system that we have on board.
It's an incredible
It's a miracle.
It's an incredible self-healing mechanism
It is.
if we allow and support it.
And that's the key. If we allow and support it.
Mhm.
And so what we're, kind of pointing out here is we're doing just the opposite of what nature kind of calls us to do at this time of year, which is slow down and help the immune system to promote overall, health and wellness, right?
Yes.
Because
And we can do that by slowing down, but also by the choices of foods that we choose to take in.
yep,
There's tons of natural antibiotics, from garlic and onion,
Mm.
and ginger, and
Yep.
turmeric.
Yep.
All of those are natural antibiotic and natural warming foods.
yeah,
I mean, that's why we have. I mean, again, listen to nature. What produce is in season? That's what the body needs.
that's what the body needs. The produce that comes in the winter months.
And I hear you. There's not a lot. Well, what did our ancestors do? They preserved and they
Yeah.
canned.
Yeah.
And so it's the warming foods to help preserve us through these winter and to slow down and not exert yourself as
Right.
much, because it's unnatural.
And the other thing that we can do is we can incorporate some restful practices
Yes.
into our lives. Things like stretching, things like yoga,
Mhm.
things like making sure we get not just sleep, but restorative sleep.
That is so important, and I don't think enough people appreciate what that means. I mean, because so many of us take supplements or things to help with the sleep, and sometimes that can actually disrupt the restorative portions of
Yeah,
sleep.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with, and if you're going to take something for sleep, uh, much better, in my humble opinion,
Mhm.
to do something natural like
Yes,
melatonin.
I agree. We're
Then,
not doctors, but that
no.
is, yeah.
But here's the deal. Again, our system is an incredible, miraculous balancing system, and oftentimes we have unknowingly
hijacked it.
And so, you know, if we do use melatonin, best not to overuse it, you know, so that when we do want our body
And I'm going to say
to
this,
respond to it,
I
it
say
does respond to
right.
melatonin.
And while we're on that topic, I'm going to go ahead and say this on air because I share this with all of my clients who take melatonin and may even say, well, it doesn't work. Okay, well, so here's things you have to know, okay? Melatonin is light sensitive, okay?
Yeah.
Which means...
So if I take 10 milligrams of melatonin and then I start looking at my cell phone,
right, you're completely bypassing the system.
I'm
Yeah.
negating.
Yeah.
Or if I take 10 milligrams of melatonin and I sit down and watch TV.
Right, nope,
you know,
completely negating the
or
system.
if I take 10 milligrams of melatonin and I go into the kitchen for a while and flip on the fluorescent overhead light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any of those
Right.
kind of negates. So if we're going to take a supplement like melatonin, we need to understand it.
We need to work with
and
it.
work with it.
Yeah,
Right.
so you have to understand that the lights have to be off for it to flip on.
Yep.
And also it degrades quickly. So you have to keep it in, usually they come in a dark bottle.
Right.
So if they don't come in a dark bottle, I would be suspicious.
Yeah.
So you want it to come in a dark bottle and it keep it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Because it does degrade quickly.
Yep. So when you say degrade quickly, a lot of us...
It will lose its effectiveness over time, just sitting there in the bottle.
A lot of us, including yours truly, kind of ignore those little dates that are stamped on the...
Yes.
You know,
Uh-huh.
and
This is one that is very important.
That's important to really pay
Yes.
attention to the little dates,
Yes,
right?
right.
And to be and to take precautions in terms of the way you store it
and
yeah.
keep it. Yep.
In terms of the mind, you know, there's some real benefits to quieting our mind. You journal each and every morning, and you know, reflective journaling is an incredibly positive thing that we can do for ourselves. Meditation, mindfulness, all of that can quiet our minds down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so important in this day and age when everything is so loud and screaming, getting our attention at us all the time. We can feel on overdrive.
Yeah.
And this is the season, this is the time when it's important to just be.
Yeah.
To sit in the stillness that is.
Yeah.
You know, I actually had a couple clients today who were expressing, well, I've been bored, you know, and I think that's part of the season too, right? Because when we are entering into this still season and we're not accustomed to it, our mind can try to fill in the gaps with, oh, you need to do this, you should be doing this, you need to do that. And that's part of the mindful meditation practice, is to be able to sit and listen to that, you know, and know it's not you, to let it flow by.
Sometimes I really worry about how we have been programming ourselves and particularly our children over the last generation with video games and constant, you know, activity, constant stimulation, and we wonder, you know, why the proliferation of things like attention deficit disorder.
Yep.
I'm not blaming it in any way, shape, or form, putting all the blame on video games.
Right.
Not by a long shot. However, you know, I think that we can all admit we're out of balance. If a kid is given a video game, you know, set, and there's no limits put on it, and that kid plays it for 10 hours a day, what would we expect?
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And so, you know, we probably need to take some steps back from the busyness, and by doing that, you know, we can look a little deeper into problem solving.
That's the other thing that I'm concerned about with the constant engagement and entertainment, is that we lose the creativity that is often born out of quote unquote boredom or stillness.
Yeah.
You know, because so many of the great artists have stories along the lines of, I was so bored and then it came to me,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
it was in those moments where I wasn't thinking anything, where I had a gap
Yeah.
and inspiration hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're so uncomfortable letting ourselves be and get there again
Yeah.
that, we need that. We desperately need that as humans. It's part of our innate nature.
And from a spiritual perspective, winter is kind of an invitation, if you will. It's an invitation to reconnect to our spirituality. And whether you're looking at a lot of our Western culture is Judeo-Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, both Christmas and Hanukkah are really a celebration of light,
Right.
And so that light is a light within, if you will. So gratitude journaling, prayer, spending time in, in quietness and even in nature,
Right.
Wrap up, but, it can enhance
To kindle that light within you.
the light within. We're talking about the power of stillness today here on Strategies for Living. Going to come back and talk about aligning relationships in winter. Talking about it today here on Strategies for Living. Come back with us. You're going to see the difference. When you go to Azalea Cleaners, you'll hear about it too. Azalea Cleaners has been fine dry cleaning since 1958, plus laundry, alterations and repairs, comforters, wedding gown cleaning and restoration. You'll hear about it from your friends because they'll see it too. They'll notice the Azalea difference. Azalea is convenient. 732 Azalea Drive, 9220 Ellerby Road, and 9227 Mansfield Road. Plus, the front door of your home or business with Azalea's delivery on demand. Just text SETUP to 249-8283, and Azalea will pick up your clothes and deliver them back clean and fresh to you. You can't get closer than that. That's the Azalea difference. You'll notice it right away. Others will too. The Azalea difference. Fine dry cleaning since 1958. Text SETUP to 249-8283 and get the Azalea difference. AzaleaCleaners.com.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome back in. Welcome back into 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. We're talking about the importance of using the season. You know, slowing down. Winter is a time, the time that we could all go more within,
Yeah.
right?
I love it. I love it because it's in the word itself, right?
Yeah.
Winter,
Yeah.
enter,
Ooh.
enter.
Yeah.
You know, not just in the sense of to enter into yourself, but also the word inter specifically means to put in the ground,
Yeah.
to ground yourself,
Yeah.
to bury deep within the solid foundation of the earth.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect metaphor for what the season offers us. A time to enter into the depths of who we are and who we wish to become in the spring.
Going deep.
Yeah.
Going deep. All right. So speaking of deep,
Yeah.
you know, we have an opportunity, I think, to align relationships in winter. We
Mhm.
can deepen our connection. I think that kicks off. The holidays around here are not always cold.
Right.
You know, Thanksgiving sometimes, and even Christmas, we can still be in our, shirt sleeves.
Yeah, this
Um,
Christmas
but
was fairly warm
yeah.
for Christmas.
But we're it's getting cooler, and winter's a time, I think, a natural time to begin to cultivate closeness and intimacy with our loved ones. And we kick that off in Thanksgiving and the Christmas and holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Do we continue those connections?
Yeah.
How do we do with those? We've connected again. How are we doing about now?
How do we
How are we
maintain-
be doing next month and the following month
Mhm.
in terms of maintenance of those relationships? Right?
That's a good question for all of us.
Yeah.
When I think about deepening and our relationships and cultivating intimacy, it still calls me back to another symbol that we see in nature during the winter.
Yeah.
And that is the bare trees,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So during the winter, the not the evergreen trees, but the perennial trees lose their leaves and they stand there bare,
Yeah. Yep.
vulnerable
Yep.
to the harsh winter that comes down, and they stand there, and that's
Mhm.
very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of all that, they're rooting. They're sending their roots down deep. And beneath the cold ground are all of the seeds that fell along with the leaves that are making their way down.
So taking our play from nature,
Mhm.
how are we rooting
Right.
during this time of year?
Mhm.
And that rooting is in relationships, in the important relationships in our lives.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what seeds are we sowing
Hmm.
within them?
Yeah. When's the last time you've invited the family to sit down and, hey, let's have a family game night? Yeah.
Well,
And not an electronic game.
right. Well,
But
those are fine too.
those are okay. But
The traditional board game.
oh, I'd love
Yeah.
not BOARD, but not BORED,
Yeah, right,
board, but BOARD, board
Right.
games. They're still out there. They're still
Oh,
available.
yeah.
Yeah.
Card games.
Yeah.
Um,
And so have a family game night. Maybe even have a night where you cook together.
mhm.
As,
And
as a family, you prepare a meal and everybody's responsible for, something. I'll take dessert.
of course you will.
Yeah, I'll take dessert because that
But-
means the sugar comes my way. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
No, but the winter season definitely provides support for that, right? Because we're less likely to, especially in the evening, there's less light. And so we're indoors and it's cold.
Yeah.
So we're indoors more often. So how are you spending that time indoors close to one another?
Are
How are you spending it?
are we inviting deeper conversation in?
Mm.
You know, are we inviting because conversation. You look at the word
Mm.
conversion, right?
Right. Hmm.
Um, are we conversion? Are we conversioning each other? Are we
Converting.
conversing
Yeah.
with each other?
And
You know?
what that means is you have to be open, to another perspective. And
Yeah,
it's to when you ask a question, don't ask it with an assumption in mind. If somebody said, "Oh, well, this this thing happened at school," kind of maybe hold yourself back from initially saying, "Oh, that sounds great," and instead asking, "Well, what do you think about that?"
mm,
Right? Because so often what we think and would experience as good or bad, the other doesn't. I mean, we
yeah,
all have our own individual experience. And when you ask a question like that, it opens the table up for people to feel understood
yeah,
and heard
yeah,
and witnessed in
yeah.
their true experience.
All right, now if we're going to talk about relationships, we've also got to talk about how we're doing with the relationship that's most important in our lives,
The biggie.
the relationship that we have with ourselves. I
Yes.
mean, so because if you're yes, it is extremely important to deepen connections with others, but what sponsors that? Well, what I
You can
was
only do that to the degree of depth that you have in your own
in right.
relationship with yourself.
I was talking with someone earlier today about this very thing and the importance of you can't really give what you don't have. So
Mm.
you've got to be willing to give this to yourself,
Mhm.
uh, and that sponsors how much you can share and give to others. So self love. I mean, self care, especially during these slower
Mm.
times, is a very very important thing.
Yeah,
Um,
and that can be, I mean, self care comes in all kinds of forms, right? We can be talking physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, right?
right,
And in terms of body, that's about how you're feeding yourself. And
right.
I'm uh, reminded by my dry hands, how are you taking care of your skin, right?
Yeah,
Hydrating yourself.
it's the your skin is
Mm.
the largest organ,
And the
uh,
first
and
protector
the first
in your
protector.
line of
Yeah,
immune system.
yep.
Yep.
And it's the troops on the front line, if you will.
Right.
So how are you caring for that?
And how are
Um,
you using this stillness, this time of stillness, to reconnect with the stillness that's within you?
yeah.
Because,
When's the last time you took yourself on a date? Solo date, right?
yes,
What
it's important.
have you? Maybe your partner doesn't particularly like every place that you like, right?
Right.
Or maybe every movie that you like. Well, might be a good idea to give yourself a solo time out,
There
you
you
know,
go. Yeah.
and make a date with yourself,
Hmm.
and also boundary setting,
Yep.
because our boundaries define us. Maybe even for the year ahead, maybe a project, an art project. Um, I, some people have heard of vision boards,
Right.
right?
Yes, I love this.
So maybe creating a vision board, looking ahead
Mm.
to the next 12 months, this year on into the first of next year, a 12-month period looking ahead. How would you create a vision board that could be a reminder of
This is what I want to create.
this is what I want to make and create in my life,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Yeah. I think it's also an opportunity for healing, Lauren. And since we're talking about relationships, I mean, I think probably all of us, I know probably there's nobody on the planet, including you and I, that don't have relationships, past relationships, that could use some healing,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
And so I think that we've been talking about reflection this evening. I think starting by reflecting on and releasing any kind of past conflicts that might need to be dealt with, maybe wounds,
Oh,
you know?
yep.
And
Because as we deal with then you're creating space for the new.
absolutely. But if there's no, the new can't come in if we've got it packed full of
If you got a
of
bunch,
the past.
if you got a bunch of dead branches weighing you down, it makes new growth a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that this is again looking at nature, and if you're taking care of plants, what oftentimes do you see happening?
Pruning.
Some pruning, right?
Yep.
And so again, taking that from nature, we're making room for new growth that can spring forth
Right.
in just a few months.
And the idea of remembering that it's cyclical, right? So we're in this season of bare openness. In the fall we kind of fall, our leaves fall and we're shedding. And now we're standing bare. And while it might not look like we're doing much, there's a lot going on beneath the surface.
Absolutely. We are considering the importance of this season and stillness. The power of it, the power of stillness is what we're considering today here on Strategies for Living. Spring is coming. Renewal is coming. Let's come back and talk about preparing for that. If we've done our job in this
We've wintered
well. Yeah. Talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back. Come back with us.
From the bayou to your table, we're keeping it alive with flavors from the family passed down to survive. The Godfather's here with a twist in the tail. Alligator Italian sausage, and it sure won't fail. It's the boss of the bayou, a taste you can't refuse. Italian tradition, Cajun infused. Godfather sausage, bold and true. The Padres bringing the bayou to you.
Get the Godfather Alligator Italian Sausage only at Fertitta's Delicatessen, 1124 Fairfield Avenue in Shreveport. Pick up a muffy while you're there. The Godfather Alligator Italian Sausage. It's a taste you can't refuse. Sold only at Fertitta's, 1124 Fairfield Avenue in Shreveport. Dealing with stress, pain, feel like you're running out of options? When your life is balanced, wellness is a given. True wellness is holistic. It's about the mind, the body, and the spirit, all in balance. Now, there's a place right here in Shreveport that's all about helping us achieve peak mental, emotional, and physical health. The Balanced Life, 117 Kings Highway, right next door to Strawn's. Come see and feel the difference getting your life in balance can be. Many of your friends and neighbors have already learned the difference less stress and pain mean in their lives. You can book a discovery session right now online, thebalancedlife.us. All you've got to lose is stress, pain, or maybe both. Come see and feel for yourself the real difference balanced wellness makes. The Balanced Life Wellness Center, 117 Kings Highway in Shreveport, next door to Strawn's, thebalancedlife.us.
Life gets hard along the way. Gotta get through it day by day. We get strategies right here. Strategies for Living Radio. Our dose of radio rehab. Strategies for Living Radio.
And welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan here on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. And we're talking about the importance of stillness today here on Strategies for Living, the power of it, if you will. And maybe we don't appreciate and look towards the season and really consciously watch nature.
Right.
And we're part of
is
that.
this is one of my soapboxes. I won't get too far
You
on.
won't get too far up on your
Yeah, but
soapbox.
we've so disconnected ourselves as a society from nature.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think we really could use. I mean, we're an extension of nature ourselves.
Absolutely.
Literally ourselves.
We are nature.
We are part of it,
Yeah.
and we shall return to it.
Yep.
I mean, all of our cells, all of our atoms, everything, every element that makes up my body is from and of the earth and the stars.
And we'll
return to the soil one day. It's my body is quite literally on loan from nature. And so I think it's in our best interest that not only are we an extension of it, but nature is hosting us here for that little period of time that we're living in a body as well.
We're all like the great Rush Limbaugh used to say, talent on loan from God.
Yes.
And that's, and he loved to say that, and it was funny and everybody chuckled. But it's true.
It's
And
true.
it's true for all of us. I mean,
Right.
Rush was wonderful and fantastic. And I wish he were still with us. But, he was an entertainer through and through.
Yeah.
And that he was hitting on something. That's all of us. We all are talent on loan from God.
Right. And body on loan from earth.
Right. And so what are we doing with it?
Yeah.
What we're doing.
And how are we appreciating that? And how are we giving back to that from which we came?
Yeah, I heard it said many years ago, life is God's gift to us, and then what we choose, how we choose to live that life is our gift back. Our gift back to God, our gift back to the world.
Right.
And so,
is how we choose to live and the experiences that we collect and create along the way.
Spring will come, and the renewal, the green will start popping up again.
Mm-hmm.
Won't be too long, but we are still in winter. And so this is a time of transformation.
Mm.
How can we use this season of winter, this season of transformation, as a launching pad for both personal growth and spiritual growth, whatever we want to have happen this year and unfold for us this year? Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And just like, I kind of mentioned, just like the seeds that are being sown under the ground right now.
Yeah.
I mean, to all of us on the surface, it looks as if most of the grass is dead and nothing is happening.
Have we slowed down enough to really look back on last year and figure out, reflect on what lessons we might have taken in the last year, in this past year, and then setting intentions, for what we want ahead.
Right.
And
I think as Westerners, and maybe this is a worldwide thing with all of the advancement in technology and the instant gratification, we forget the power in the stillness, in this pause before great growth.
Yeah.
I mean, there is nature is showing us the importance of this time in which we pause and really reflect and dig down deep and say, okay, here's where I've been. Where do I want to go when my time has come, when spring really does hit me and I'm ready to bounce out? That's kind of the idea of be prepared.
Right.
How are you preparing yourself?
How are you preparing? Life is cyclical. I mean, nature is cyclical. We're part of nature. We're part of life.
Yes.
And so can we truly embrace? Nature shows us that this is a quieter time. Are we embracing the quiet to get ready for the new beginnings, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The hush.
Yeah.
The lull, in which on the surface, you might not appear, it doesn't look like anything's happening, but there's a great deal of change going on beneath the surface.
Let's not get out of here without talking about some strategies, because we are strategies for living, right?
Yeah. Last I checked.
So what are some strategies for staying motivated over this winter season and doing some of the things, putting into practice some of the things that we've been talking about this program.
Big one that comes to mind, we like to say it a lot. Balance.
Yeah.
Balance.
Yep. The B word.
Yeah. Being able to, remember that in this season, to balance out what you're doing and to remember to come back to stillness in the midst of all that the world and everyone else may or may not be asking you to do right now.
Yeah.
To listen to your body, to tune in.
Yeah. I said to you one day last week, it was cold one of the days last week, and we had some time, and I snuck off and took a nap, and you asked me about it, and I said, it's any day that I can get a nap is a good day.
That's right. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to hibernate for 3 hours or anything,
No.
Sometimes,
in fact, the smaller naps are scientifically proven to be better for you.
The power naps, right?
Yeah.
20 to
the creative power naps, the spoon naps, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
Because the creatives, I think Einstein and maybe it was Benjamin Franklin who did this. He would fall asleep with a spoon in his hand. So that as soon as he truly fell asleep and the spoon fell,
it would wake him up.
It would rouse him. Yeah.
Spoon naps. I like that.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what he called him. That's what I call him.
Yeah. Well, it's a good name for him. Yeah. So, again, how can we look ahead? You know that the spring is coming. So we want to maintain kind of motivation through things like rituals and habits and visual reminders. We talked about creating a vision board. All great things to do during this time.
And create seasonal habits, cozy habits that would encourage your relationship with stillness.
Yeah.
Whether that's having a warm cup of coffee or a warm cup of hot cocoa in the evening, something to warm the soul and the body.
Yeah, there you go. Got more than one thing playing at a time here. There you go. There's the busyness. There's the busyness of this season, right? Illustrating on the board. We'll be back with more strategies.
Stillness.
Yeah, we'll be back with more strategies for living in just a moment. Stay with us. Hey, let's talk about the Robinson Film Center. I say it a lot. There's no place like the Robinson.
Absolutely, there is not.
617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. You've got so much. You got the movies. You got Abby Singer's Bistro on the second floor of RFC, open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Saturday.
Newly remodeled.
Absolutely. Great menu. RobinsonFilmCenter.org is the way you check it all out. You can go to RobinsonFilmCenter.org at any time and find out what movies are showing. Here's the deal. You want to join the crowd, join the fun, become a member. When you become a member, you become a star. You get discounts on movies, you get concession upgrades, you get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. I'll say it again. There's no place like the Robinson.
There is not, and I'm glad we have one right here.
Absolutely. The RobinsonFilmCenter.org.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donisa Walker with Learning RX Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, Learning RX Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call Learning RX Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does Learning RX Shreveport.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies for living radio.
And welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, and winter. It's not just a season to endure and get through. It's an opportunity to embrace stillness and reflection and prepare for the the renewal that is ahead of us. Again, it's all cyclical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that idea because I think so many of us are like, oh, it's winter. I can't wait for the spring and the summer and for the warmth, right? And every season, every time, every present moment is a gift.
Yeah.
And so how can we unwrap this gift? How can we use
We have
winter?
we have a table at the entry to our house, and
Mhm.
I opened up the Bible to a place.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah,
And
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesia, to every time.
There is a season.
There's
Yeah.
there's a time and a season.
Right. And so
One of my favorite places.
how can you use winter as a gift? How can you open the gift of winter for your body, your mind, and your spirit?
Yeah. And so body, mind, spirit, relationships. We've just been through a season of gifting, right?
Right.
How are you now gifting yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And-
What seeds of intention are you planting in the stillness of winter that
Yeah.
will bloom in the spring?
Oh, I like it. I hope we've all gathered a few things to think about.
That's my hope.
Yep, that's why we do what we do here on Strategies for Living. Folks, thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us. Spread the word if you enjoy Strategies, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Learning RX and Pintail Roofing and the Balanced Life Wellness Center and Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, alligator, Italian sausage, and those muffies too. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time on Strategies for Living.